Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to the Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, December the 2nd, 2014. Present are Commissioner Cuella, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Anyone sign up?
No, sir.
All right, under consent agenda, any concerns?
No concerns, Judge.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4A.
Under item 4A, approval of 2015 proposed holidays. This is a similar schedule that the county adopted. We're just coming back to mimic the same days that the county has for the district.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, approval of retirees' medical plan premium. Again, it's doing the same thing that the county approved on their retirement premium for the medical services.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5, I believe Balde was going to present, Judge.
He's coming in.
Who negotiated the contract?
I don't know, sir. That's why I let Balde. They placed it on the agenda. We didn't.
Who did, Balde did, or?
Who placed item 5, Balde?
I'm sorry, let me turn on my mic here. And Godfrey, I apologize. Commissioners, Judge, I apologize. Item 5 is the action that we're taking on the board side. This has to do with our RFQ that we had, RFP with Q that we had let out for delinquent tax services. And so with that being said, what we did on the county side, we've also mimicked and done on the drainage district side. And so it's the same vendor. So I'm asking the court to accept and approve a negotiated contract, which was with our #1 ranked firm, Lineberger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson, as well as the firm's best and final offer for the delinquent tax collection services. Our delinquent tax collection services on the county side will be the same delinquent tax service collection agency on the district side. And so this is the mirror side or the opposite side of that action we took with respect on the county side.
Are you prepared to present?
No, this is the final product. We've already negotiated
So
with
you
them,
need
so
action.
we're asking.
One second.
Alde, the judge had a question of who negotiated the contract.
I'm sorry?
Who negotiated the contract?
The negotiation was done at Atlas and Hall, and it was myself and Ms. Vanjie from the purchasing department was with us. It's the same team that
I
negotiated.
know they're pretty basic, but I was concerned about one item, the one we were discussing at the time that we were considering the rankings and the awarding of the documents, and that was that the cost of that software.
ACT is a separate contract that'll be coming up. We will be negotiating that contract as well.
I don't mean ATT, I'm talking about the software that
Yes.
the delinquent tax firm
Yes,
has.
it's ACT. That's the contract that I'm referring to. It's that software.
All right,
But-
well,
but-
what's it going to cost us, if anything?
That contract right now is at, Sergio, it's at 200,
300.
300, I'm sorry.
300 and some thousand.
355 is what we were
Something like
told.
that.
Okay, but that's a
And
contract
that
that's
they were
coming up in
reducing
15.
it by 100,
I know.
and I was wanting to see if at the time of negotiations, if we were able to get a better deal for the county.
As far as that software, that's a contract with the county and not with the district. So the district does not contract with anybody for that software. That's done exclusively by the county, and it's a service that's provided to the district, and we charge the district commissions and fees for collection of their taxes. So I guess, although it's the same vendor, that contract has nothing to do with the drainage district, and so that negotiation couldn't happen with this contract, since this contract is not tied to that software.
Judge,
Okay.
that contract comes up in 2015, and Judge, we will be addressing that contract.
But no, I don't mean 2015, I mean now. I mean, I
No,
thought that
I'm
was part of what we were going to
No,
be.
right now we have a contract, so basically when we come up for renewal is when we'll do those negotiations to bring down the cost of that
But isn't this the
That's all.
time when we can have obviously better leverage
Not-
in trying to negotiate better terms with the county?
No, since it's two distinct contracts, we can't negotiate that contract with this contract. It has to be negotiated at that time.
Sergio, they made an offer at the
And-
time.
yes.
Hold on just a minute. At the time that they submitted their proposal, they made an offer to reduce it by 100,000. So, I mean, they're considering it to be a part of the delinquent tax account, I believe.
Yeah, I understand what they represented, but I don't believe that we can amend the contract with this contract. There's two separate contracts, so we would have to do negotiations on the software side on our own, separate from this delinquent services
Right.
contract.
And Judge,
I don't believe the software was part of the proposal.
Right. And if-
that was advertised.
exactly, but if I can't, Judge, if I can, based on that representation, we will be addressing that at that time when we negotiate that contract. There was a representation made.
Is there any way of negotiating it now?
No, sir.
Now we just.
No, it's not up yet, so
No,
whenever it's due.
it's
I
not
get
up,
there.
but Judge, rest assured that we will be negotiating that contract based on that representation.
All right. We
Judge.
have a motion and a second
Judge,
to,
hold on.
yes, ma'am.
Just to clarify, ACT is already preparing a letter to send to the county pursuant to what we represented in the presentation, but as I stated, it is a separate contract, and I think that's what Mr. Guerra is trying to say, that we're going to negotiate the ACT portion. But ACT has already prepared a letter to
Right.
address it to the county.
Okay.
I just wanted to represent that.
Angie?
Move for approval?
Second.
We have a,
Judge, I just want to add something. This is generally under purchasing.
okay.
For Hidalgo County, or even, I don't know if Drainage District has adopted a lot of the provisions under the county, but in our contracts, we have provisions that say that a vendor at any time may always offer discounts to the entity they have the contract with. They can never raise it, but they certainly can always, within the contract, if they're afforded a discount in any form, it should trickle down to the client. So that is also part of any contract that you enter into with the county.
Judge,
Okay.
my question is, and it's a question for legal counsel, is it proper to do this? Steve?
Not at this time.
Okay. That's what I thought, because we negotiated only the collection part, and that's the contract that we had in place. I don't believe that you can then say, can you give me a discount on another contract?
Mr. Ofracio,
That's going to be their discretion.
right, and that's why I said that
Yeah,
that
it's
is
a
a separate contract, and we will
That's a
be
separate
negotiating that
contract,
at a different time.
Well, let's pin down the time. I don't want to just leave it hanging.
No,
When are we
Judge,
going to
had-
do it?
Angie, what's the expiration? I believe it was May of 2015?
May of 2015.
Okay, and Judge, on those types of contracts, we always start preparing 60 to 90 days prior to the expiration. So we're talking probably in the middle of February,
February or March.
March, when we start.
Angie, in their offer, did Kalam Linebarger offer to reduce it by 100,000?
Yes, sir.
Well, are we going to have to wait till May to do that? Or?
Yes, sir.
But why wait till May if they're offering to do it now?
They included it in their response, but we can't negotiate until that one comes up.
I think there needs to be some clarification. On October 1st, ACT had to send, because this is the last year left on the ACT contract, had to send a letter to the county giving terms and conditions at the time on October 1st. I believe that the contract itself allows for some type of amendment, but we need to sit down with Mr. Guerra. But ACT is prepared to lower the fee on the ACT software, but we need to negotiate that with Mr.
Right, and I have not...
Guerra with the county and do
I've-
it as soon as we can. I didn't know that they wanted to wait till May. I mean,
And
we-
I have, no. I'm stating that the contract expiration is May, and what I'm saying is I have not officially received anything from,
correct.
From
We've got the
ACT.
letter prepared.
But Balde, if Ms. Canales is saying we can do it before May, why wait till May?
Judge, I'm not saying we'll wait till May, I'm saying that was the expiration. Our usual timetable is 60 to 90 days prior, but obviously I was
Why
not
don't
aware
we,
that ACT was...
you
Our
think we could
intent
do
is
it
to
in
make it-
January or something?
Our intent is to make it effective when the delinquent contract comes on board, which would be
Okay, then,
January 1st.
Again, I've not received anything. Until I receive that is when I can start to
If
officially
that is their
negotiate.
intent, why don't we sit down in January and work it out?
No, I would actually, as soon as I get the letter, then I'd like to hammer it out this month.
Oh,
or
okay,
January.
good.
Correct.
But Judge, I have not received anything. I wasn't aware that you all, or ACT was preparing something. I've not received anything in my office.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. We have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Motion carries unanimously.
Judge, item B is the selection of the term. I'm going to recommend the last one as to be coincide with the county's 3-year term with 1-year renewal with same rates, terms, and conditions.
You're going to recommend which one, sir?
The same as we did with the county of Hidalgo, 3-year term with 1-year renewal with same rates, terms, and conditions.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
But does the drainage district contract is the same as the terms, as the same as the county?
Yes.
As far as the expiration
Yes.
date and all that? Okay.
Yes. Right, yes. Did we have a vote?
That's already been
Oh, we
done.
haven't.
Motion and second.
Oh, second, okay.
That took care of that item, right?
Yeah, we just need the
We
official
just,
vote.
I think we just need the vote,
Motion and
Judge.
second.
I thought we did vote
Oh, I'm sorry.
unanimously.
Okay,
It was a unanimous vote from what I
Okay, that's
remember.
correct.
okay.
You're right, you're right.
All right. Item 6,
Item 6, Commissioners, it's discussion and direction as it pertains to retention schedule of records common to all local governments and disposition of past and existing district documents. We have another item, which is probably the same item under item 13, so.
yeah, why don't we take them both at the same time?
Okay. So would you like me to just, no action on 6 and you'll take action on 13, sir?
All right, well, let me kind of tell you what my concern was,
Yes, sir.
or is. This has to do with the shredding or destruction of, let's see, there was approximately 15 boxes of records that were shredded in October of 2013, and then 93 boxes of records that were shredded in April 2014. That matter had not come up to the attention of the board, and I was concerned whether or not we had a retention policy. We looked into it, and as I understand it, in your response, you indicated that we were following the state library commission requirements or something to that effect. And my question then is, well, number one is, why did we shred these records?
Basically, Judge, Ms. Sylvia Sanchez from our office is the one that's been handling the issue on disposing of records once we reach the appropriate timeline. And they work with the district clerk and county clerk's office, in which they're the form they fill out, following the retention schedule, and basically dispose of old records. There's no malintention. I believe in some of the documents, the word was used that I had given orders or directions for the shredding of these documents, which I did not.
Well,
And-
whether or not there was any malintention, as you phrase it, I mean, it had been 12 to 15 years ago that any documents, during that period of time, at least during the last 12 years, no shredding has occurred, no destruction of any records. And then we now have these 2 dates when these records were shredded. Who did you have, who was involved in the decision-making process as to why these records needed to be destroyed?
Sure. I'll bring Ms. Sylvia Sanchez up to explain to you in the details on the process of the shredding, because I don't give instructions for the shredding of documents.
Well, but
Sanchez?
you're the custodian, though.
Sir?
You are the custodian of the records.
Basically, the records, as long as they're disposed of according to the retention policy, why should I have an issue with it?
Well, because somebody has to decide what records need to be shredded and which ones should not.
And I'll let Sylvia explain
And
that part.
especially since here, as I understand it from our lawyer at bond counsel, these accounting records related to these bond issuances that require us, based on IRS policy, that we require us to keep them until about 2025 or 2027, sometime in the way distant future.
Sure, and I did talk to bond counsel also, Judge, and basically, if some of these records were shredded, we can retrieve those records, one, from the copies that the bond counsel has, Secondly, we can retrieve the records also from the financial advisor. And third, regarding the IRS, we can retrieve the record from the arbitrage company that keeps the IRS records for us. So if those records have been destroyed, then we'll get the copies of whatever we need. If the boxes that were destroyed or shredded were marked with the documents that fell within the guidelines, from what I've looked into. But your question is, who decides or why was it shredded? I'll let Sylvia Sanchez
All
explain.
right, can you, good morning.
Good morning. The guidelines that we followed were the ones that are put out by the library in Austin. After speaking with Mr. Guajardo, that's the guidelines that the county follows. When they purchased that big shredder, Annette came before the court and offered those services to the whole county.
But Sylvia, my question is, who made the decision to shred these documents?
I did.
And why did you make that decision?
Because there were old records. We had been renting from storage land, and we were getting ready to rent another storage unit, which was going to make it 4.
How old were
But when
these
the
records?
district purchased the Precinct 4 property, they have a big building there where they stored their tires, and after speaking with one of Commissioner's employees, they took the tires out, we fixed up that room, and all of our records are there. And no bonds were destroyed. Everything is there. We have pictures of those boxes also.
Who complied? Who made the effort? Was it you, or who was involved in deciding whether or not you were complying with the requirements of the Library Commission?
It was me.
You realize there's 62 pages involved in identifying these documents.
I'm sorry, 62
Well,
what?
well, tell me, what did you do in trying to comply with them?
I looked at the years and at what I was destroying.
The year,
The year.
not at the type of documents?
The time of documents is within that year.
The type.
The type. Okay, the type, you can destroy old documents, like especially employee records that were there from the 60s and the 70s, 80s, and those were destroyed. All of those were destroyed.
Well, I was concerned mainly about accounting records, but
Accounting records, some of the accounts receivable and accounts payable, if they were listed within that year, that where you can destroy them, those were destroyed also.
But are you aware that there are 62 pages of documents that each one of them has a particular requirement and a retention schedule by state law? An accounting record, you got to keep it for so long. A employee record, you got to keep it for so long, and you got to go through 62 pages.
I am aware of that.
And you went through all those 62
I
pages.
went through all of those, and I noted on the forms that the county clerk's office gave me, they have a statute on the record number, and those were all documented.
So you complied, you've complied.
I complied.
You complied, and then who did they go to?
Well, I'm not sure, when you say you complied, we've been told that you shredded documents that should not have been shredded, that you obviously maybe, and I'm not saying you did it knowingly, willfully, whatever, but it was an error if we're to rely on what our bond counsel, Mr. Ramirez, is telling us.
And Judge, what I would like to do is go into detail with Ms. Briones, which is the one that's making the references that certain documents were destroyed that she can't find, because we've got about 10 or 12 boxes in storage that have no information on it, but it just says Laura Briones will review. Laura Briones will review. So we have boxes in there that might have the documents that she's looking for.
Well, but Godfrey, you shredded accounting records. You did it in April. In March, all of the financial affairs of the district were transferred over to Laura Briones, who then was to report directly to us. And it took it away from your, I guess, control, if that may be the proper word. And yet you went, even though after they were taken away from you, you went ahead, and I'm not saying you, but Sylvia did, went out there and shredded these documents that were clearly marked accounting. May not have said bonds, may not have said issuances, but it said accounting records. And you went ahead and did that in spite of the fact that you and Godfrey were no longer responsible for those affairs, those records. And that was why I was very concerned about why that was done.
Okay, when the court took that action, it was for Laura to report to the board on accounting, okay? And it wasn't like go back to where all those old records that we had in storage. All of those old records were destroyed. I have pictures of all the boxes for accounting that are there. They're all there. You know,
What I'm concerned is what is not there.
well, what is not there, Judge, those were very old records, and I complied with what the statute reads, and they were destroyed.
All right, with all due respect, I've looked at that statute. It's 62 very detailed. You have to take every page, you have to look at it and compare it to the list of 62 documents. Are you telling me here that you did that?
I did.
And you did that for 15 boxes and 93 boxes? You
Yes,
spent
sir.
a lot of time.
Yes, sir, I did.
And how long did it take you to do that?
It took us months to do that.
And during any of that time, did you not feel that it was important to advise the board that you were going to be shredding these documents?
No, sir, because I asked, and that's not an agenda item.
Can I ask a question? Before you do that, does the county clerk play any role before you destroy those records? Do they
They look at the
verify?
list. They
So
look at the list.
They in fact come back and
Yes.
check that before you destroy?
Yes, because the boxes have dates on them, and it tells you what's in there.
So do they go down the list as well?
And they go down the list before they accept the boxes.
They go down the list of what?
The list that they provided for us, where we document all the boxes that are being destroyed.
Did they go down the list of the 62 pages of the Library Commission requirements?
They go down the list of what we recorded,
They go down what you give them,
what I give them.
right? So that's
Okay,
what they limit
The
them
bottom
to.
line, has the county destroyed any of the properties, Daniel?
Any what?
I mean, any of those documents, has the county destroyed any of the papers they have?
Yes.
Not talking about the drainage district, our own documents. Has
They
the
have
county-
destroyed thousands of boxes of documents.
And who's responsible for destroying those? Do we?
The
I'm
county.
not sure what documents you're talking
No,
about.
no, the county, I mean, we have paperwork.
Well, bond documents, I'm
No,
not aware of any bond
No,
documents.
but I mean, does the county destroy any of their boxes? Just keep piling and piling and piling up for years and
Well,
years?
the district clerks and the county clerks, I'm sure they get involved in doing the shredding.
Okay.
But we're talking about accounting records of the district.
Because, I mean, from what I understand, the district clerks, I mean, the county clerk should have been involved with this. Where's, anybody here from the
Yeah.
county clerk?
Can we get Arturo Guajardo out here and then?
I believe they were. Are you confirming that they were part of
I
this
spoke with
process?
Mr. Guajardo.
And the boxes were sent over to the clerk's office because they're the ones that physically do the shredding.
So you didn't physically
No,
shred
sir.
them?
Send over to the
No,
clerk's office.
there's a retention, time, and after so many years, you can get rid of so many boxes, and they gotta,
But you've got to go through every document and say, okay, this one, it complies with, we can destroy it, this one we cannot, et cetera, depending on what's written on those 62 pages of records. We can,
they were verified by the county clerk's office, right?
I don't think that they do any verification. They're just
Well,
given a
you know
list.
what, here, the whole mess up then? Maybe we need to let Mr. Ofracio take care of the auditing and hire his own person to be there.
No,
No,
I'm
I
not sure
mean,
that's.
because it's going to continue happening over and over and over again. Because that's not actually his direct employee.
Well, but I mean, Joe, they can't just go in there and start
No,
shredding documents.
I understand, but we need to fix the problem right now and then go back to take care of that. But from right now on, I mean, we need to have Mr. Ofracio have his own employee in there that he can control and find out exactly what's going on.
Well, I'm thinking we perhaps need a retention policy that would require, before any shredding is done, that they look at it, that someone look at whatever it is that's about to be destroyed.
Judge,
And Judge, if the board wishes, any items that meet the retention requirements come before the board for any future shredding, that's fine, sir. Right now, it doesn't exist.
Well, where I'm headed is we need to come up with a policy that you can look at, and I don't mean the state library one that's 62 pages. With all due respect to Sylvia, I mean, it's going to take forever to go through all those 15 boxes and 93 boxes of documents, page by page, when if we were to have a basic policy that we could all look at and rely on, and then you notify us, then that would take care of it.
We'll get with legal counsel to draft something up for the board's consideration.
Judge, I think what they need, Judge, is a retention schedule that will list specifically what documents
And that's
can
what
be
we follow.
destroyed at what times. Like, for example, any documents related to bond issuances, those need to be retained for the life of the bond plus 3 or 5 years.
Until you pay for it, and then plus 3 years.
Right, yeah. But those are specific to those documents. Some of the documents, like some correspondence that might be destroyed within
And we
3
have the
years or 5
boxes
years.
there, which go back to our 2006 and 2007. We have pictures that box still exists. That box was not shredded.
Because when you send boxes to the county clerk, you're only notifying them which boxes you're going to destroy and what documents are
With the
included.
list, it's on there.
I don't believe they verify to make sure that you're destroying the documents in accordance with the retention schedule. Just notifying them, here's the boxes and,
We,
yeah.
my understanding, we give them the form that they give us, we list what's listed on the box, we quote the section or whatever on the retention schedule, and that's what they verify.
That's what we do. We send them same thing, We do the same thing to the county clerk. We send them a letter saying, we're going to destroy X boxes and listed numbers and what documents are included
And
in
who
there.
destroys it, y'all or the clerk?
Either they destroy them and we witness, or we destroy them. Either way, but we're there when they're being destroyed.
And that, you follow the state retention policy?
Yeah, we have a retention schedule, like I said, and that schedule
Not
lists.
a policy, the schedule is what you follow.
Yes, a schedule, yeah.
Okay.
And that's in compliance with the state library.
Which is the same thing
requirement.
that the district is.
All right, so you're going to be getting together with legal counsel then? Try to come up with maybe there's some forms out there that you can look at with some other district or some other part of the state.
No problem, sir. We'll get with legal to draft something up to present to the board.
I need to make a statement here.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how we can draft a policy that is going to be any shorter than the State Library Commission retention policy.
Well, I'm not suggesting we undo the State Library Commission policy. We got to follow it.
Correct.
If we don't follow it, it's a crime.
Correct.
All right, so we've got to follow it, but what I'm saying is there's got to have to be somebody besides Sylvia is in this case making a decision to destroy records. There's got to be a policy that maybe she can suggest it. It would be taken to Godfrey, and then he would in turn present it to the board. Then we can go ahead and authorize it, something that basic, and not just somebody employed by the district deciding one day that we need to shred records.
Judge, if I may comment, I don't think there was a deliberate act to shred documents and not following a policy here. I think that Sylvia acknowledges, I can't dispute what she's attesting to about going through the laws of discarding or the retention program. The second point is she did that. She referred to the county clerk's office, and they validated the retention policy and discarded the. Now, I don't know all the inventory of the boxes or list or what's missing. I'm certain they can be retrieved at one point. They're archived somewhere else. I think if there's an issue related to those documents, I think, and I don't know what they are, what the issue is, I think that there should be a request to recover.
And
If,
that's
in
what I
fact,
would like.
I think the issue is not really the documents, because none of us here know what they were. I think the issue is the conduct, that if we could address it in general.
Right.
That we have some kind of procedure in place that before we even get to the point of giving it to the county clerk to do the shredding, that we comply with certain requirements, and that's what I was suggesting.
Well,
That
but-
Godfrey and Steve get together and work something out, maybe include Balde on it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I have no problem with any of that.
Annette's here.
No, Tom. Oh, there she is. Annette, we've been talking about our policies involved in the shredding of documents, in particular the shredding of documents that occurred in October 2013 and April 2014.
Yes. And I was listening, and I rushed over here. We do have procedures in place. Each department is notified that if they wish to shred anything, they have to be in compliance with the Library of Archives. We do have a form and that form is filled out by the department, and the list is given to us, and that is filed in our office of what they're shredding.
Who decides what documents to shred?
The state does.
No, I don't mean this.
Oh.
There you look at the list and decide whether or not it can be. But who
They have to
decides
put a
whether
code.
it should be?
The department has to put the code on there that refers to the retention schedule.
Because here we're finding out that Sylvia is the one who decided that it needed to be done. Godfrey was not involved, and nobody else was involved. And I'm trying to come up with a procedure that would allow more people to be involved in the decision-making process of what needs to be destroyed. What records, public records, need to be shredded.
What we have told the departments, Judge, is that when we came in, well, I was in 2000, but departments were keeping everything. And of course, everybody knows we're running out of room. And that's when we started encouraging for them to go by the Library of Archives, the retention schedule, and see what they could get rid of, because there was too much stuff that we were keeping that wasn't necessary. So that's when we started encouraging departments, all departments, to start looking through what they could get rid of. The schedule is very clear, and it tells you what you have to keep, what you don't have to keep. And I will assume that, because from what I've seen on their report that was filed in our office, they listed everything that was,
But about two meetings ago, our district attorney came in and requested authority to destroy certain records that he had.
they've been destroying stuff for a long time. I don't know
Yeah.
why they would come to Commissioner's
Well,
Court
they
to
did,
ask.
for whatever reason.
Okay.
And
The auditor's
we-
office has used us, elections has used us, the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, but they have to file that document with us. Sometimes they don't like it, but they have to submit the list of what they're destroying and include the code of the retention schedule
Hold
that
on just a
allows
minute,
them.
Annette.
Annette, does the drainage district follow the same rules the county follows?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all I need to know.
And we always let the departments know that because some of them, kind of give us resistance as to, and I'm not saying the drainage, departments in general, of having to do the list, of having to, it is for their protection. It is for their protection, so that way, if anything should ever, come up, come
Let me
about
ask you a
that,
question. Once they're turned over to you and you have the checklist, who destroys them physically?
our office does.
Okay.
We do have cameras there, and we let the department know that if they want an individual there to oversee the destruction, they're more than welcome. We don't want anybody else touching the shredder because our guys have been trained, but they can have somebody there, like the DA's office does that because of confidential information, but other than that, we're the ones that destroy it.
Okay. All right, I don't have any other questions. Any other member of the court?
At the board's request, what we will do, we'll get something in a written form that will identify that from now on, any type of box that's being shredded, we come before the board and advise the board of the box is being shredded. At that point, the board will either authorize it or not.
Well, whatever you and Steve work out.
But Godfrey,
Yes,
even
sir.
if you have a box full of paperwork and you bring it to the board's not going to know what's in there.
I understand, sir.
You know what I mean? They're going to have to go in there and spend 2 or 3 days to go over a whole box.
Yes, sir.
To be able to find out what's in there. They're going to have to take you guys' word, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, just to add, in 2007, Arturo Guajardo Jr., as the county clerk, was made the official records manager for the county. That is for all the departments that do not have an elected official. The elected official for each department is the records manager for their own department. But like I said, in 2007, he was appointed as records manager for the county. So I don't know that that makes any
All right,
difference.
just ship it over to him, sir, through our interlocal agreement that we have, and let him be the officer of record. What do you think, Baldo?
There is a provision, but given the fact that this is a very specific issue, we'd have to modify the current interlocal to specify that very issue itself, because it is specific. We do have a provision in our general interlocal agreement that allows for services back and forth, but again, the importance of this issue, I think we should look at the contract and put language specific to this very issue.
We'll get with Mr. Crane and bring something back to the board.
All right. Thank you, sir. Item 7.
Items 7 and 8, we did not place on the agenda, sir.
You need to take item 8 first.
Item 7, this is,
We need to take item 8 first.
8 first, okay. These two items are related to our refunding bonds that are in process. Item 8 is request approval of negotiated contract with the highest rank underwriter for the refunding of a portion of the district's 2007 bond series.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7 is authority for county judge to sign letter dated November 14, 2014, acknowledging receipt of disclosure by underwriter, senior management underwriter pursuant to MSRB Rule G17, Hidalgo County District Drainage District Number 1, Unlimited Tax Refunding Bond Series 2014, the bonds.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Go ahead, sir.
Thanks, sir. Item 9, requesting approval to pay invoice 10078-804 as a claim to McCoy Building Supply in the amount of $167.42 on PO number 624562. Two purchase orders issued for concrete mix. Vendor used one purchase order number for both orders. So
Move
it's
for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 10, requesting approval to reject all bid received for RFB number HCDD1 14029 10-29 Pueblo de Palmas drainage improvements. Basically, the bid that was submitted did not meet the guidelines, so we're rejecting the bid, and then we're going to request.
Which Palma del Norte? I mean, Palmas, Pueblo del Palmas. Is
Pueblo de Palmas is way over on 107 up on the north side.
That's ours, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval to re-advertise RFB number HCDD1 140340107 Pueblo de Palmas drainage improvements.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 1 with TED the Infrastructure Group to Agreement Professional Services Hidalgo County Drainage Number 1 Master Drain Assistant MDS extension of termination date. We're requesting the extension on this contract, which is in precinct number 1, with TED for a period of 2 years.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
2013 Bond Series D, requesting approval of notice to suspend work as it relates to construction contract number HCDD1 140080708 Precinct 2 Alamo Expressway Drain due to lead time to manufacturing of slide gates. Resumption of work will be effective March 2nd, 2015. Commissioner, this is Commissioner Palacios, this is a pump structure in your precinct. However, the gate manufacturer will not have the gates available till March of next year.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E, requesting approval to accept bid and approval to award construction contract in the amount of $283,595.20 to lowest bidder, Geo Underground LLC, meaning all required specifications for RFB number HCDD1 14031-11-13, Precinct 1, Rural Drainage Development, Spanish Palm Subdivision.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item F, requesting approval of amendment number 1 to license number LSF/G-1376 to USIBWC permits as it relates to the South Mercedes lateral structure 164AL.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
These three are basically the pump structure that are going on the floodway system as part of the bond project, just for general information. Item G, requesting approval of amendment number 2 to license number LSF/G-780 to USIBWC permit that relates to the East Donna Drain structural 96AL.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item H, requesting approval of amendment number 1 to license number LSF/G-1541 to USIBWC permit as it relates to the Mercedes lateral structure 601CL.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 11, 2013 bonds, request approval to issue manual check after review and audit procedures are complete on the following item. Application for payment number 3 in the amount of $77,580 from Texas Cordia Construction LLC pertaining to construction contract number 14-004-02-11, Precinct 4, Edinburgh Drain Stub out to the South Main Drain Control Structure, PO number 624505.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 12, approval to submit payment to HoldCat in the amount of $70.20 on PO number 625560 for overage on a purchase. Basically, we received a PO and the cost was above what the purchase order was, so we're requesting the payment, the additional payment of $70.20.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 13, I believe, was placed by either the judge's office or somebody. We didn't place item 13.
Okay, this is,
Yes, sir. Yolanda Chapa with the County Judge's Office. Item 13A, which reads, "A discussion and consideration for the creation of the position of Assistant General Manager for Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1." The last time, in February, when Mr. Garza had his contract extended, he spoke then about the fact that he wanted to stay for one more year. That contract's coming up for renewal in February again. The thinking is that an individual be hired as Assistant Director for Mr. Garza so that within that year's time, Mr. Garza can start training someone in that position and with the Drainage District Number 1. And there is, I did not push for a job description to be brought today because I felt Commissioner Court may want to discuss this, and then we can write the job description with input from Mr. Garza and the Chief of Staff.
this is a discussion item only. We're not asking for any action. Not sure how the other members of the court feel about this issue, but
Well, this is not going to happen in the next couple of weeks or so.
no.
I'm out of the deal.
No, we've always talked about having somebody to help him out to learn the trade.
Yes, sir.
But I guess it's like Commissioner Palacios said, it's not going to happen this year. We're going to have to wait till the other commissioner comes in, and then we'll take action and do something about it.
I think the intent has always been to have someone shadow Godfrey in the however much time he's going to be servicing the district. So I'm in favor if, in fact, we're looking at a departure of anywhere a year or so, whatever it's going to be.
Yes, sir.
That there, in fact, needs to be an individual that understands where we're at and where we're going. So, you know.
I guess your intentions are to apply for another year, or what's your intentions, or?
It's my intention to start meeting with the commissioners, see what y'all's wishes are going to be. My contract is up in February. I do believe we need to provide some type of transitioning period to be able to get somebody on board that'll be able to work with the commissioners and not get into a short type frame that it didn't work or did work with the individual. I'm going to be at the disposal of the commission, whatever it's going to take to train an individual coming in. Again, I think it's, as Commissioner Tito Palacios mentioned, I think it'd be a good idea to wait for the other commissioner to come in to see if he has any additional input. But I do believe we need to start looking at that.
Godfrey?
Yes, sir.
You know, I know that's, maybe the question's out of here, but I mean,
Yes,
do
sir.
you ever feel like you should work for the county full-time?
Commissioner, I think if the board wishes for me to do that, I do not look at long-term employment, okay? And I would hate for the general public to think that I'm trying to find a way to become an employee to seek the benefits of the district. That is not my intention. However, if the board wishes that that's the way they will extend my service for whatever time a transition is required, I'll comply with whatever the wishes of the board are. But I do believe I've spent a lot of years with the district. There's a lot of projects that are in the chute moving down, and I don't think we can hand, or I can hand the reins over in 60 days or 90 days. So I do believe that we need to start discussing the possibility of bringing an assistant in, as Commissioner Joseph Palacios, and to make sure that that assistant is going to fit into the mold of what your wishes are. Because like I said, you know, I've been here for 20 some odd years, and every commissioner is unique in how he wishes to address his particular area. So we will have to find somebody that's going to fit the character to do the job that y'all need.
Especially at the ground running, too, because we got a lot of ongoing projects.
It's not going to stop. The work is continuing, and it's going to get more.
Yeah, I think it's important we address it, and perhaps Commissioner Tito Palacios is correct. We need to wait till January or sooner after so we can address it properly with the entire court, new court, But the issue needs to be, we can't keep on avoiding it. I know we've talked about it for the last 2 years, and it hasn't happened, and we're going to need to make a decision one way or the other,
Yes, sir.
either us or yourself.
Understood, sir.
Okay, then we'll bring it back sometime next year.
Within this time, with the direction of the court, board of directors, we will start to write the job description with input from Godfrey and from your chief, so they can take back the information to all of you, if that's okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Chavez.
Thank you.
Judge, may want to include Joseph. Joseph, she's the answer.
Yeah, no, we have, in fact, we've been meeting with him.
Yeah, we'll be meeting.
All right, go ahead, sir.
You have item B and C, sir. I don't know if you would like to rediscuss that, or...
I think we just discussed it. You're going to be getting with legal.
Okay, sir.
And come back with the policy.
Right, sir. We do have an item under closed session for the board's consideration.
Judge, to do the time, can we recess drainage, convene commissioners, and then come back and reconvene drainage district because of the time?
All right, then we're going to be recessing our Drainage District Board meeting, and at this time, we're going to be convening our regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court for today, December the 2nd, 2014. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all our blessings. We ask you to make us very mindful of what's going on in the world and how many people are starving and being run out of their homes, and so many people are suffering. We ask you to help us remember those things, even though it's a holiday season and we're all happy to be with our friends and enjoy our blessings. We want to think of others too. We ask you to help this court make good decisions today that will enrich the lives of all of us. And we ask this in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Eufrasio, have any concerns with the consent agenda?
Yes, Judge, there are a couple of items that need minor clarification. I would like to ask that consent agenda item 11B and 11C be pulled for discussion.
Move for approval of consent agenda with those exclusions.
Second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On 11B and 11C, they're just points of information. There is a typo, and the correct per project name is Palm Lake Estates, not Palm Valley. And 11C, there is, well, if you want to take action on that one first. It's just a typo, Palm Lake, not
Second.
Palm Valley.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On 11C, there is a omission. The correct change order amount is $32,990, not $32,900. The correct amount is $32,990. If you'd like to take action on that,
Move
please.
to approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Marty.
All right, at this time, we're going to recess our county meeting and convene our Drainage District Board meeting. And under item 14, we have an item in executive sessions of pursuant to 551, 071, 072, and 074. I would need a motion to proceed to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, we're back in open session on our Drainage District Board meeting.
Judge Commissioner, we will proceed as directed by the board and report back to the board.
And need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Judge Commissioners.
All right. We're now back and convening our Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting. We're under item 5, open forum. The first presenter is Commissioner Palacios.
Yes, Judge, Commissioners, I just wanted to announce for the benefit of the general public as well as the board, we had an event this past week on Wednesday. It's our annual event that we have in San Carlos where we've worked with numerous groups out in the area, and I'd like to acknowledge them. The Association Liberal Humanitarian del Valle, Pay It Forward, R&R Platinum Productions, Sharyland High School basketball team, St. Joseph the Worker of San Carlos, Guadalupe Iglesia Organization of San Carlos, Vino Nuevo Church of San Carlos, Jorge Zapata with Heart for Kids, Roy's Barbecue House, Texas Tarps, Texas A&M Colonia Program, as well as many volunteers in the area. I know we have some of the individuals in the audience. If I can call them up and join us up here up front, Jorge Zapata, Lidia Maldonado, Gela Lumbreras, Nena Caballo, Pastor Victor Ramirez, Alfonso Martinez, and Ms. Laura Trevino as the Director of Texas A&M Colonia Program. Judge, Commissioners, every year we try to give back in our community, especially in the San Carlos area. For those that don't know, that if you take the area of San Carlos, there's over 6,000 residents that the census picked up in that area, in an unincorporated area. These individuals here helped us feed 749 people that live in the San Carlos area, and I want to give them commendation because they do it from the bottom of their heart. They don't have to do it, but they're out there for the community, and I just wanted to take a moment just to acknowledge them and thank them for what they do and to serve the people in San Carlos. Every year it seems to grow, and we're anticipating with the opening of our new CRC Center to potentially hit the thousands by next year, but I just want to take a moment to just thank these individuals for what they do. Thank you very much. If we can.
Aquí, señora.
Aquí enfrente. How you doing?
Buenos días.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. I'm here to petition my government for a redress of grievances. Community property is private property earned and acquired by two people during their marriage. The community property of Joe and me was given no value, and it was not divided between Joe and me by any court action. There is no settlement by the courts of the community property belonging to Joe and me. which was the only thing the court was supposed to do. Because the court did nothing in regard to a settlement of our community property, the community property of Joe and me remains owned by Joe and me. Because Joe died, his property is the estate of Joe Billman and is passed by state law to his 3 heirs equally. An undivided 1/2 of the community property is mine under Texas community property law. In response to a petition for divorce, a shell corporation was formed and certified by the Secretary of State. Instead of dividing and awarding our intact, debt-free community property to Joe and me, the court awarded our debt-free, undivided community property to the state-certified shell corporation that has no legal foundation to own our community property. Following Joe's death, the court sold a strip of our land, not from Joe and me, but from the state-certified corporation to the city of Mission for $280,000 for a street from Sherry Road to Glasscock Road. I do not know who got the money. Joe and I have been paid not 1 red penny for any of our land. For the owners, us, the court determined our land was excess land with no value, which could not be divided, and then divided and sold from the state-certified shell corporation this strip of our land to the city of Mission for $280,000. The city paved about half of this street, blocked and named it Salina Street. Since construction, it has been used for parking. The city owns the pavement. The land belongs to the owners of the estate of Joe Billman and me. Because remarks have been made about, well, they have an easement or it's eminent domain, I want to say something. If a landowner has no access to his property except across land that I own, he has an easement, but nobody else does. An easement is not for public use. The landowner can do nothing on my land except cross it to get to his, but only if my land is his only option. Eminent domain is used to take land for public use. If the land is not for sale, eminent domain can be used in order to construct harbors, canals, roads, public schools, asylums, municipal buildings, or housing projects. There are legal procedures. Eminent domain is not free land. These legal procedures are worked out before the construction can be started. Just compensation must be established, and the landowner must be paid for his land before his land can be taken for eminent domain. In other words, a developer cannot say, I've developed apartment buildings on my land for my profit, but now I have to have your land to get to them.
Ms. Billman, you need to wind it down, please.
Yes, sir. No, he doesn't. Access to his apartment development is established before his apartments are built, not afterwards. Apartments for profit are now being built on the south side of my land that the city paved. My land does not encircle this development. Not easements or eminent domain apply. This developer has other avenues of access that he can use, and not that anybody bothered to ask, but my land is not for sale. Thank you very much for your time.
The final presenter is Fern McClarty.
I am here today to again express my sincere hope that you will listen to the people and stop creating bills that increase taxes. The vote concerning the hospital district was a clear indication that the people do not want to pay more taxes. I know that you have staff members that will review the results and say, oh, if we had just a little more time, concentrated on the colonias and purchased more commercial time, we would have won. We know that you will try again, but the message from the people is clear. The private hospitals contributed $200,000 to State Senator Chuy Hinojosa to support this bill. They also spent funds to produce and air bilingual commercials to the newspapers, TVs, and radios. They even added a political advertisement on education television. They got the support of Vietnam vets, the Valley Interfaith, and still they lost. The opposition paid for and made their own signs. They went house to house asking one question: can you afford to pay more? 80% of the county population lives on a fixed income, and you want them to pay more. The County Commissioners Court wants the people to pay 75 cents for health care on the poor in Hidalgo County and Reynosa, 3 cents for a new courthouse, 5 cents for a STC campus in the cities of Edcouch or Elsa. Bypass construction, oh, I'm sorry, that's a fee, not a tax. County drainage, $185 million. STC tax increase of 25.68%, plus the $2.90 of existing taxes, and the county wants more. Sorry, the answer is no more taxes. Today on your agenda, 11A, you're talking about the scofflaw and whether or not you, who needs to collect it, if it's delinquent 90 days. Yes, we do collect it, and I would think that the people would pay on time if they had the money. But, and also I'd like to know, are y'all trying to override a JP's authority in their position in the courts? And then 19A, the delinquent tax collection today. When Linewater lost the contract way back when, the county was paying $30,000 a year for that software. It then went up to over $360,000 because they no longer had the contract with the county for 5 years, and now we're on the last year, I believe, of that contract. Now the county is so lucky to only be paying $200,000. You acted like that $100,000 was such a big deal. How about from the $30,000 to that amount? Doesn't sound like a good deal to me. I know they're talking about negotiating, but remember that when they had the contract before, we only paid $30,000, not $360,000, not $200,000. So see if you can help the taxpayers there. Thank you.
All right, next item, item number 6A.
Morning, Judge. Bobby Villarreal with the County Judge's Office. Item 6A is discussion consideration regarding the Hidalgo County legislative agenda for the upcoming 84th legislative session. Michael's passing out some papers. We reached out to many of the departments and the precincts on any ideas or things that were necessary, and I'll go through a few of them quickly. The first one is if required to seek amendment for legislation to give Hidalgo County the option and authority to demolish the 1954 Hidalgo County Courthouse. This one, in talks with our senator's office, it appears that we can do it if we so desire by simply giving some advance notice to the Historical Commission, but we put that in there just as a precaution if it was necessary. Also, the second one was the amend the statutes to authorize Hidalgo County to assess filing fees on certain cases for dedicated for funding towards a new courthouse. That was an idea proposed by our financial advisor, and we were talking to our senator to discuss options on that. And other counties have done that throughout the state when they've had these issues. Another one interesting there is number 4, to expand the county's authority regarding advertising on county-owned property and allow the county to solicit, receive sponsorship for electronic broadcast and print promotions and programs offered by Hidalgo County to include newspaper, magazine, newsletters, radio, television, and internet. That's something we've been working on with the Civil Division of our DA's office. There has been talk of getting our own channel for Commissioners Court meetings and other public access items, and this would be a manner that would give the county the authority to sort of self-sustain those expenses. And then if you go towards transportation, seek support from TxDOT to consider formulas that take logistical oil and gas supplier counties without significant production to be included in the road funding. Right now, TxDOT, with that new proposition that was approved, a portion of that funding is going to go towards the Eagle Ford area because of all the damage that occurred. But there's places like we anticipate with the new exploration that's going to go on in Mexico, that the idea is that in Hidalgo County, we may become a supplier. We may not get the production or by the formulas that TxDOT is using, but we may get the road damage that all those suppliers will be crossing our area. So places like Alice, Texas, like Jimos County, they don't have production going on, but they have a lot of suppliers that go to the Eagle Ford. So they're a similar county that would have issues like we would. So that's something we wanted our legislators to encourage. International relations, this was an item that McAllen and some of our senators are seeking, and I think it's a good idea for us to support. Was a binational commission that communicates infrastructure needs and logistics between Mexico and Texas. One of the issues that they had, the reason they're talking about this is because it appears that many times when Mexico's doing something, we don't know that they have this perhaps a road or a pipeline or marine activity going on. And so the whole idea is that both countries and this state, because they have something similar in Arizona that they have, and I think they wanted to mimic that. And then also public funding for health. We have the John Austin Peña facility. It was funded to build it, but there was no funds for the operations of it. So that's another item. And I know Eddie Olivares has been working on some issues with the medical school to do some activities there. And then also, of course, the veterans support legislation to provide funding for the county's veterans office. And then also, it's not on there, but I think from what they've been telling us, that border security is going to be a major issue with the legislature this year. And I think one of the things that all the cities and the counties locally have been encouraging is that if they're going to send resources for border security, that they ought to send it towards the DPS officers, towards local law enforcement, the sheriff and the police, rather than the National Guard. And I know it's not on there, but maybe I think that's something we ought to add to it. And also, the legislature has begun filing, so they have asked us to submit something to us. So if y'all have anything additional, I'd like to submit this if we could. I don't know if you have anything you want to add or delete. But going forward, if you have anything to add, we can go ahead and submit that as well as we go forward. But they have begun filing, so I was hoping the court would make a move on this.
Judge, Commissioners, sorry about that, Bobby. Moving forward, as Bobby said, there is one issue that I have discussed with the court. I have mentioned it to Mrs. Chapa, but with respect to our civil service, not the civil service, the statutes of civil service, but a process within civil service that I've questioned over the years, and which is the right of appeal. Right now, at the end of a civil service process, if an individual who goes through the civil service process, if I go through the civil service process and it is not positive for me, I, as the individual who filed that grievance or whatever the issue was, have the right of appeal. So I can go further up the road to the courts. Now, on the opposite side, the employer does not have the right of appeal. It ends there. The question I've had, and I have been working and talked to legal, is how does that play with the general statute under that gives or that says that the elected official operates his or her office in the most effective and efficient manner. If something occurs within an official's office that requires that official to take action on an individual, and the adverse action would be the ultimate, which is letting the individual go. That individual, if they are a civil service individual, goes before civil service. If it is positive for the individual, that individual could be by civil service action or order, as they say, as it's been told to me, can have an order to reinstate the individual. My question has always been, well, how does that play with respect to the official's authority over the office? Because I will not get into detail, but in the past, we have had incidents where an individual was ordered to be reinstated. Our argument was this individual, we presented a case trying to show that this individual needed to be let go of, been ordered to bring the individual back, and then the very issue that brought us to the determination to let the individual go reoccurs. So, again, I've mentioned it in the past, so I'm going to ask to see if, at least in the process, to include a right of appeal of the employer. I think at the end of the day, it's important on both ends, on both sides. So, just a little for informational purposes at this point.
Thank you, sir. Any other concerns, issues? No, thank you, Bobby.
Can we have some
You want a
authority to,
motion?
just to go ahead and submit it to our legislators?
Oh, absolutely.
And-
The public safety is important because of what I've heard. I think they're only slated to be here next couple of months. I'm talking about the DPS that'll all come down here.
And there's been talk of actually creating a DPS training facility here.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, so.
I think it's critical. We're going to fill the void in the next few months when they're reassigned back to their.
And really, National Guard ought to be in Ferguson, not here, so.
Yeah.
Do you need action? Move for
Steve, do
approval.
you need action on that, or?
Second.
Okay.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, item 6.
Bobby, I'd like for you to do a little more research on number 4 from the top down.
Yes.
You know, there's got to have to be some kind of distinction between public-private.
Okay. Will do.
I just don't see us collecting money to allow advertising
Well, I think
on public
I
property.
think, well, no, but I think one of the main issue, and I think Julia has it, is if we're going to broadcast Commissioners Court on our own channel, that I think some cities have the ability to advertise on that channel, and on the county doesn't have that authority, I don't believe, so.
Well, look at what's out there and provide us with the language that you're proposing.
Okay. Then item 6B, McAllen had sent us their reappointment of David Guerra to the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority earlier in the year. Somehow it fell through, but we wanted to go ahead and ratify it. And this is for the term of February of 14 to February of 16.
Is there any way we can move till January after the new commissioner comes in?
When is the term?
It was, McAllen reappointed him in March of 14, so it was for the term of February 14 to February of 16.
Why are we doing
Why
it
are we
now?
doing it early?
No, we actually missed it. It was submitted to us, and we needed to ratify it back in March. But it was.
Oh, we're late.
Yeah.
We're 8 months later.
Yeah, he was holding over.
Okay.
So we're just ratifying or accepting their appointment.
All right. Was there a motion and a second?
You made a motion, no?
No. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those in favor, I guess, raise your hand. Those against, same sign. All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 7, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. There's no action under items 7A, 1 and 2, unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. No action. 7B, 1, 2, and 3 this week. 7C, Judge Commissioners, I'm presenting to the court for acceptance the letter of declination of the office of JP Precinct 3, Place 2, from our former Justice of the Peace, Melo Ochoa, and this would be for the term commencing January 1st, 2015.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, Judge Commissioners, I'm asking authority to allow, or there is a request for the use of the Hidalgo County Courthouse. This is for the 2015 mock trial competition. It'll be held on a Saturday, January 17th, and Monday, January 19th, or the one on January 19th will be on an evening.
Move for
Father,
approval.
before we move away from that other issue,
Yes, sir.
can you research or have Mr. Crane or maybe Yvonne research as to what we need to do on that new term, beginning January 1st, 2015.
Judge, I'm already working on that. I've discussed it with legal. So I've mentioned it to Mr. Crane, so we wanted to take this action, and then I'll have a
But we
report.
need to appoint someone to start that term.
Exactly, because
Does
right
the
now,
appointment begin, can we do it before January 1st, or do we have to wait till then?
Judge, I will have an answer by the end of the day.
All
But
right.
we did already start that process.
All right, item D.
Item D, and again, item D was for the mock trial competition.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Yes. Item E is the Children's Advocacy Center, DBA Estrella House. Judge, Commissioners, I'm asking consideration and action regarding the funding request in the amount of $50,000 for the Child's Advocacy Center, DBA Estrella's House.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
The second item is the declaration of support to the Children's Advocacy Center, DBA Estrella House.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
With that being said, item 3 would be the appropriation of the funds for the Child Advocacy Center in the amount of $50,000.
For approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And the last action, after review processing procedures are completed by our county auditor, we're asking to authorize the county treasurer to issue a check in the amount of $50,000 to the Children's Advocacy Center, DBA Estrella's House.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F, under our right-of-way, there is a request, and so we're asking approval for an open cut, Casimiro Ortega Road in Los Ebanos. This would be Texas north of Rene Flores and south of Francisco Garza within the right-of-way, east to west, to install a 4-inch sewer line.
That's Los Ebanos, the community of Los Ebanos, right?
Yes, yes.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item G, Judge Commissioners, is an item that we have been working on for quite some time, not specifically with A&M, but just in general. The issue at hand, which is a cooperative agreement between A&M and A&M Extension Service and Hidalgo County. And what I meant by working for it for quite some time is working with our agencies, Department of Public Safety, A&M, the Children's CPS services. This is the first of 3, and so I'm asking the court to consider and approve the cooperation agreement between Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and Hidalgo County. In essence, what this does is it outlines the responsibility or the program at hand, their responsibility, and our responsibility with respect to the assistance that we provide that agency in furtherance of that program. And in this particular case, we assign staff, county staff, to the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service in furtherance of the A&M programs. Again, as we all know, all the agents at the A&M's AgriLife Extension Service are state agents. They are not county employees, but we do assign county employees to aid in the furtherance of this program, which benefits Hidalgo County.
Valdo, my only question will be, this new cooperative agreement, does it enhance what their objectives are, or does it, compared to what they've had before?
It solidifies what,
Okay.
the objectives,
Legally,
yes.
pretty much.
It's
Okay.
Now, mind you, the A&M extension has been around for,
Over 100 years.
yes, over 100 years. In my tenure, we had Dr. Ida Drumgo was there. We've had Mr. Cowan. We had Ms. Storrs as the lead agent. And so, again, with that being said, it's always been understood, but I thought it was important to have a document in place that outlines exactly the both sides, what our responsibilities are to each other.
You need a
Yes.
move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's all I have for
All right, item
today.
8, our constables.
Good morning, Commissioner. Good morning,
Morning, sir.
good morning, Judge. I am Deputy Constable Robert Perez, in behalf of Constable Martin Cantu. We're here for item 8A, discussion, consideration, and approval to appoint Armando Geller Jr. as a deputy constable by Constable Martin Cantu, Precinct 2 Constable's Office, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Section 86.012.
Move for approval.
Yes.
One question. On the agenda, it says reserve deputy constable. So you're appointing a reserve deputy or a
Yes, sir.
deputy?
Correct.
Reserve?
Reserve deputy.
Okay.
My mistake.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Are we voting for him to be a deputy
A
constable? or
reserve
Reserve
deputy.
deputy.
Reserve deputy.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Item 9, HR.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. 9A, under the Executive Office, approval to create 2 regular full-time county operation administrator position slots number 19, budget at $86,888, and slot 20, budgeted at $91,888.
Move for approval.
Judge, this is contrary to your county budget policy.
Contrary to what, sir?
You have a budget amendment policy, the personnel-related amendments, and in September 11, 2013, you approved the policy, and it prohibits changes to increase the number of budgeted positions within a department funded by the general fund. So this item here is contrary to your policy that you approved back in 2013.
Judge, I believe our executive officer has expressed the mere objectiveness of this move. I will second that motion. I know you have a motion on the floor. I think it's a good move for the county. I think it allows Valda to manage all exterior departments that he does and all of his tasks that he has, so I have no problem with it.
And these amounts have been budgeted already?
Yeah, there's no raises, there's no anything. It's just merely using assets that we have within our workforces to help Valda, with his objectives.
So it's not, you're saying, Commissioner, it's not a creation, it's a transfer of personnel?
Well, I'm speaking just for item number 1. 9A1 is a creation of the slots.
Okay.
All right.
But, right, no, but I'm saying that your policy prohibits that, so you're saying you want to waive the policy?
I would, in fact, after having counsel with Valda, and he laid out his groundwork, and I think the 2 individuals or the 2 slots are very imperative for him to reach his objectives. I have no problem with it.
All right, we have a motion to approve in a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
And item number 2 is approval to transfer employee number 78506 to slot number 19, and employee number 115622 to slot number 20, effective upon the Commissioners Court approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 3 is approval of the interdepartmental transfer and approval of the revised salary schedules. Number 4.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Ms. Cortez, is that item number 2 in accordance with your
Everything's
personnel
in order.
policies?
Everything is in order.
No, but don't you have to advertise for
These are
positions?
exempt positions.
I'm sorry?
They're exempt
exempt
positions.
The ones you just created are
Yes.
exempt?
They're exempt positions, so they can be appointed.
Okay, exempt positions normally are the ones that are listed on the civil service?
They have been presented to Commissioners Court, and the item is under an exemption.
No, no, but,
That's the way the PAR forms were submitted.
but
So
exempt from
everything
what?
is in order to be approved by court.
Question is, you're saying they're exempt, but exempt from what? From
Civil
Civil
Service.
Service Commission?
Yes.
Because the ones that are exempt from Civil Service Commission, they're listed under the commission rules. So these 2 new positions are exempt, Valde?
Mr. Frasso, these are going to be civil service. My intent is civil service exempt and FLSA exempt by virtue of the action that's been asked of the court to take. And item 2, which is employee transfer, I believe it is proper. These are existing individuals that are being transferred from one funding source to another funding source, Road and Bridge to general fund.
Right.
And so I believe everything is in order.
Okay. Because normally, when I try to advertise for positions, HR says that I have to, when I have a vacancy, I have to advertise for the vacancy.
And your office has contacted my office, and I have accommodated, and we have always resolved that very issue that you're bringing up.
Right. But I'm always told that there's non-compliant with the policy.
Again, Mr. Fracio, the issue has been brought to my office, and I have always resolved the issue. And so,
So the answer to my question is, this action is compliant with the hiring policies that the county has?
this is compliant with the court action that the court is taking right now.
But my Civil Service Commission,
The Civil Service Commission are rules that are set forth. They're guidelines. Again, the core responsibility, the core function of civil service is for an individual to have a process by which to aggrieve issues that they believe that are issues in their minds. That is the core function of civil service. There are also other functions which we work with civil service, Ms. Mercedes Espinosa, with respect to civil service policies, rules, procedures, so forth and so on. We have been working now for right around, Ms. Cortez, I would say a complete revamp of both books, which we call the Brown Book and the Blue Book, for the last 2 years, I believe. It has been
more than that.
we have literally have gone page by page. It has taken this long. We are, if I'm not mistaken, we are probably 99 and change % complete. We're wrapping up a few loose ends. And again, we have been meeting with both legal counsel on both ends. When the need arises, we check with Atlas and Hall. Other times, we work with Ms. Josephine Ramirez's office. But at all times, we have been working with the civil service attorney on these changes.
So our lawyer says it's proper, and you're saying so also.
Judge, I believe everything is in order.
Okay, let's move on.
Item 9B,
Item B.
Precinct 2 Administration, approval of the following position title changes only from, I think it's countywide mechanic shop to mechanic 4. It's a mechanic 4, they want to change it to a mechanic 5. And also under the shop, it would be mechanic 3, it would be a mechanic 4. Under administration, they've got a administration clerk receptionist to a clerk 3. And under administration, it'd be an office clerk to office clerk 3, or just a clerk 3. And approval of the revised salary schedule.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item C, approval of the following personnel actions. To delete slot 10, a maintenance 1, $22,954. Slot 3, a mechanic 3, $32,131. Slot 15, accounts payable specialist 2, $32,769. Slot 42, a maintenance 1, $23,674. Slot 44, a safety specialist 1, $23,015. Slot 71, a maintenance 1 at $23,384. And slot 73, maintenance 1 at $23,384. Those positions would be a total of $181,311.
Judge, wouldn't it be a good idea to wait to January the 1st for these items?
What are we trying to accomplish, Commissioner? Are these people, are we deleting certain positions?
These are all vacant positions that he's trying to delete.
Are they occupied, or are they vacant, or?
They're vacant, Judge. They're all vacant positions. Sorry.
No, the judge was asking the commissioner. Judge, Commissioners, Commissioner Palacios has been upgrading and his organizational plan, his compensation plan, and this is just he wants to leave in the precinct. That's why we did the first one where we changed the titles, but there was no change in salary. They were simply to match the job with the title. We had people that were Mechanic 3 is making $45,000, Mechanic 3 making $32,000, Mechanic 3 making $28,000. The salary was the determining factor on their duties and responsibilities, so we just changed the title, no change in salaries. These are all vacant positions, and they're Commissioner's strategy to realign his salary schedule so that it's in line with the pay scale that he had set up. And we're deleting $181,000 worth, creating $168,000, which is a little less. There's ample opportunity for the new commissioner to create any number of jobs that he may need. There's adequate funding. The commissioner is, by design, lapses sufficient salary money, so there's not an issue there with abuse or anything like that.
The question here is, we're deleting all these positions and creating all these positions. The creating are not going to be hired before the first of the year?
No, sir.
It's going to be done.
Let me
Yeah.
respond to this. I would not be doing any of the hiring.
That's what I wanted to hear.
It's
That's
going to
only-
be done under the new commissioner.
Yeah.
Effective the first.
And we need to get clear, things
Well,
clear.
it's clear.
And I know that's what he's trying to do, but, I just wanted to let the public know.
Clarify it.
More or less clarify.
Yes, sir.
So he's creating this, and he says he's not going to hire anybody, so he'll let the new commissioner hire it wherever it is. No problem.
Very good, okay.
Move for approval.
Second?
That is to 1, 2, 3, and 4.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's to include the creations, Judge?
Yes.
Commissioners?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last one, D, under Precinct 2, is to create the following position, Executive Assistant 4 at $70,748. Approval of the interdepartmental transfer
Second.
and the revised salary schedule.
That's to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those in favor indicate, 1, 2, 3. Those
Three.
in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners.
Yes.
If I may, just one quick note. I want to apologize to Ms. Valdez, who's in the audience. We were talking about the MOU on the AgriLife. Ms. Andrea Valdez is in the audience, and she is our new lead agent. I know I mentioned the former lead agents. I in no way meant to exclude her. I wanted to make sure that I corrected myself. I do see, Andrea, you want to stand, there she is. She is our new lead agent that was introduced to the court a few weeks back. And again, I apologize for erroneously omitting her when I mentioned the former lead agents because she is our new lead agent.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
You're always welcome. Item 10, the Sheriff's Office.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Richard Ozuna, Sheriff's Office, Hidalgo County, on behalf of our sheriff. 10A, on number 1, authorization and approval to purchase through the State of Texas Surplus Property Program under Chapter 2175.001 of the Texas Government Code, Section 262.02, A, 9, and C of the Local Government Code, for 7 2009 Chevy Tahoes and 1 2008 Chevy Tahoe Police Interceptor model vehicles in the total amount of $72,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under number 2 is requesting the County Treasurer's Office the issuance of a check made payable to the Texas Facilities Commission after completion of the County Auditor's review and approval of all paperwork.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, under the State Alien Criminal Assistance Program, the SCAP Grant 1284, is number 1, authorization and approval for certification of revenues for the SCAP 2014 from our auditor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And under number 2 is authorization and approval for appropriation of the funds for the SCAP 2014 in the amount of $27,922.
For approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye, motion carries.
And that's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our tax office, Paul Villarreal. Morning, sir.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. My items is, I have 1, 2, and 3. The first one is the discussion to consider and approve for the Justice of the Peace to continue collecting the $20 scofflaw fee. They were actually doing it, and I was going to try to do it in my office by myself, but after we meeting with the auditors, I think the best thing to do is just to let them collect the $20 with the Justice of the Peace. The next one is the consideration and approval to allow the tax assessor's office to collect it at my office if we see the invoice and we see that they did not collect the $20, I can go ahead and do that and put it on my miscellaneous file. And the third one is to get the approval to access able term. I did talk to Mr. Renan, and he's able to allow me that access to other 6 offices so we can see if it was actually paid at the JP's office.
Move for approval.
Judge, I think on item 1, there was no need to allow them to continue to collect because they were never told not to collect. They were granted the authority to collect, and they never took action to remove it. Now, the only thing that is clear that I think needs to be brought up, Paul, is that they cannot waive, because that was the issue that was at hand before. They were waiving the fee.
Right, okay.
And I don't think the court gave them authority to waive it. So now the court is actually telling them you cannot waive it unless there are certain conditions, right?
Okay, yeah, I see that, except in the instances of complete dismissal of cases where no court costs are collected, so.
So how would you know, number 2, Paul, that they, I guess that somehow you're going to find out that
Well, the
they
number
didn't
2,
collect?
the person is coming back with their receipt, is going to have a line where it's going to say they collected $20, and if we show that it's blank, then we're going to go to able term, and right there, we're going to be able to see the $20 were collected. And if they were not collected, then we'll collect it upfront ourselves.
So the JP's office is going to write in that they have collected the $20?
Yes, on the invoice itself, it's got an area there for the $20 fee.
Okay.
And if I see that it's blank and they didn't collect it, I'm going to go ahead and verify that. through
Before you
able term.
issue the plates, you will have to collect the $20?
Yes.
All right.
And so we have a motion to approve 11A1. Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
I think he went over 2 and 3 also, Judge.
Yeah, it was all together.
It was all two, okay,
So is 1, 2, and 3 approved?
Yeah. Yes.
very good.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Eddie Olivares, Hidalgo County
Morning,
Health
Eddie.
and Human Services. Sir, item 12A is pursuant to Chapter 465 Local Drug and Alcohol Education Program, Section 465.003, presentation on Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Drug and Alcohol Abuse Advisory Commission's activities. This is in regards to the John Austin Peña and the substance abuse programming that had been taking place in that facility. As you know, through consent agenda earlier today during Commissioner's Court, the company that was providing the substance abuse program treatment for that facility is no longer being considered to take part in that. There's a proposal that's being submitted as of today that would go out to put out and seek a new vendor for that services that's available. The previous company was called SCAN, Servicing Children and Adults in Need. However, they have, on November 18th was their last day there. So we're looking at the new proposals going out. But the good news on this is that the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, UTRG, the medical schools, actually received a grant that we agreed to participate with them on, that they may be able to actually provide some outpatient medical, psychiatric, substance abuse, and nutritional support to children under 18 years of age at no cost or very little cost to the people from the community. So that's really exciting. We're working with them on their agreements. They will be actively seeking to see this proposal that goes out, because they may be one of the bidders on it that goes forward, but we're still working with that as well. So I just wanted to give an update on that facility and what's going on with that. If there are any questions or comments. That was the purpose of that, just to give an update. If there's no questions, I'd like to move on to item B, which item B, right now there is no action on that. Please, we're doing some last-second revisions on that, so I'll bring that back to court in January. Item C, I am requesting approval to submit the community-based Healthy Border Work Plan to the Binational Health Council for an amount up to $4,000 in the grant. This is a grant that we receive from them every couple of years, and to provide local support for some binational efforts that we do with our Mexican counterparts.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second of 12C. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 12D.
Right. Item D, on this one, I need to bring a clarification up. This is dealing with the LPPF funding, the hospital funding, which is the health care district. We were working with the state and the hospitals on getting the final tabulation, but due to the fact that we needed to submit this for an agenda item, we put a figure of $10 million, but once the state actually, as of yesterday, was still tabulating the most current up-to-date numbers, and the numbers that we got are actually $13,320,365.51. So on here, I need to have that changed on that. Now, this is the hospital funding that we collect from them, the fee that we collect from them, is, well, their
And
tax.
you want to change it to what?
$13,320,365.51.
Move for approval on that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second with correction on 12D. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On number
Motion
2 is
carries.
approval of certification of revenues as certified by county auditor for demonstration year 3 IGT drawdown. Mr. Ufracio and I talked about the funding is available for that. Mr.
Right,
Ramos, am I
I
correct?
think I certified last time over $22 million. We only utilized 17. So you want me to certify the difference, or what is it?
Well, what is the proper procedure, Mr. Ufracio, to make sure that the $13,320,365.51 are
I
transferred?
can certify the difference. That, I think I already have like $7 million that was left from the prior
We'll follow your
certification.
lead, sir, whatever you
So I
recommend.
certified just the difference to cover the 13.3.
Okay.
And the approval of the appropriation, you can appropriate 10 million, because we're only going to withdraw what the state needs. So we're not going to withdraw the entire amount. Again, there's still about, I don't know.
Yeah.
$7
My only
million
thing is the deadline,
appropriate.
my only thing is the deadline is Thursday to have the $13,320,365.51 in place to transfer to the state. That's the only thing I'm making sure that needs to be done.
So which one you prefer, that I certify the difference or certify the 10 million? I could do the 10 million also.
Well, long as you certify the total certification is $13,320,365.51, whichever method you want to do is fine. Long as the total is certified.
I think what I'll do, I'll go ahead and certify the 10 million to match the appropriation, and that's going to be sufficient to cover the 13 million that we're going to withdraw.
I'll follow your lead. That's fine.
Thanks.
Do we have a
Okay.
motion?
Approve 2 and 3, right?
Move for approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second of D2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item E and F, there is no action unless there's questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're waiting on 3. You're presenting on 3 right now?
Oh, 3. I thought you voted on 3. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Going back to item 10.3, approval of appropriation of funds for demonstration year 3 IGT drawdown in the amount of $13,320,365.51 to fund uncompensated care.
Move for approval.
Now, that appropriation document was not attached, Eddie?
That document is being worked on. Irene and Budget Office are working on that as we speak, and that will be sent to your office immediately
Is
pending.
approval subject to?
Subject to approval of the appropriations document and guidance with Mr. Ufracio's office.
Okay, do we have a motion for
Move for approval.
12D3?
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That was on 13 million, not 10.
Yeah,
Yes.
$13,320,365.51, 13320,365.51. And under item E and F, there's no action unless you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
13A, IT Department.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Have an item. It is just standard bookkeeping. We're cleaning up some of the bills from the year. We had an overage of long-distance calls on our trunk lines, so we're just requesting approval of the following claims and invoices for the county treasurer to issue a check as listed on the item.
Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second for 13A. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Have a great
Item
morning.
14A.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm Andrea Valdez from the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. This is Dr. Marlon May from Texas A&M Health Science Center School of Public Health. And we are happy to announce the CDC obesity grant that was awarded to Hidalgo County. This is a grant from the Centers for Disease Control. We were awarded for year 1 of the grant. This project will focus on the access to healthy food and access to physical activity to impact obesity in Hidalgo County. We're in the early phases of this still, but our first year will focus on assessments and planning in different communities. And we look forward to working together with you and seeking your input as we move forward during the years of this project.
And if I could just add on behalf of the Texas A&M Health Sciences Center, this is a wonderful beginning to an announcement that was made in August by the Texas A&M Provost John Sharp and the Vice President for the Health Sciences Center, Dr. Brett Girard, of an initiative that is beginning, a 10-year initiative called Healthy South Texas 2025. And the focus and the purpose of that initiative is to reduce the levels and to prevent not only obesity but related kinds of things such as asthma, high blood pressure, and so on and so forth. So it's my pleasure to be here. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you for being here with us.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you. No action needed on that item. Item 15A, Head Start Program.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have 15A is the discussion and approval on request to lease 2 copiers through Hidalgo County's membership participation in the State of Texas Department of Information Resources, DIR, awarded vendor, Toshiba Business Solutions, DIR, contract DIR, SDD 1686, in the amount of $1,303 per month for 48 months for Hidalgo County, for the Head Start Administration departments.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to 15A. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B.
Item B is the presentation for discussion and consideration and the approval to enter into a memorandum of understanding MOU between Hidalgo County Head Start Program and the FAR San Juan Alamo PSJA Independent School District, and it has been reviewed by legal counsel.
Commissioner, the review and approval of legal counsel, this agreement is not documented.
We went ahead and presented it to your assistant, and we do have it here.
Oh, okay, just wanted to make sure that.
For approval? We have a motion and a second to 15B. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Same thing with C and D, so that's been done, Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Okay.
On all of them, yes, sir. On letter D,
C.
I'm sorry, letter C, discussion approval to award classroom space as attached here to for sealed bids on lease of classroom land space for the following areas. And we have Donna, Edinburgh, McAllen, Mercedes, Mission, Westlaco Land Space, Mercedes, Mission, and Mission. And there was a question, there were 13, but they actually are 12, and it is reflected in the corrected form by the time that it got to a final.
We have a motion and a second to 15C. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item, we're requesting no action be taken. The original contract does not allow us to extend, well, I'm sorry, not the whole item, only one of them, the last one, Austin A1. So let me go through it. Discussion approval for Hidalgo County Head Start Program to exercise option to extend for an additional 1 and/or 2-year term on the interlocal agreements for facilities under same terms and conditions with the following entities: McAllen Housing Authority, McAllen 5 Head Start Center, McAllen Housing Authority, Vine Terrace Head Start Center, City of Westlaco, Westlaco 1 Head Start Center, McAllen ISD, 2 years. And this one is the one the last one, the Austin A1. We're saying no action on that one because we are needing to go back to have the extension corrected. So what you have there is extensions on all those others that are listed.
We have a
For
motion.
approval without the last one, Austin 1.
Austin A1.
We have a motion, a second to 15D excluding Austin 1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The final item is to be brought back again because there is no.
By next
Yes,
meeting.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
16, Planning Department. For the sake
morning.
of saving time, will you introduce all the preliminary altogether?
Yes, sir, I will, Commissioner, certainly. Just for the record, San Pablo subdivision number 2, Sunridge Valley subdivision, MGM Platinum Ranches subdivision, Ranchitos Escondidos Phase 1A subdivision. All the aforementioned subdivisions are for preliminary approval. They have been reviewed by the various county departments, my office as well. They've also received approval from the advisory board, and it's in order for preliminary approval. Yes, it is.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for 16A, 1A through D. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 2 is final approval of financial guarantee, replat of lots 5 through 9 of the Hill subdivision. They're just reconfiguring that subdivision, and everything's in order for the final approval. They have deposited with the county $4,500 for the septic tanks. No objection has been already approved by my office, various county offices, and the advisory board.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second of 16A2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Last item is reimbursement cash deposits. Los Novillos subdivision precinct 4. At this time, they're requesting reimbursement of $1,000. If I may, can I read them collectively? They're all reimbursements for septic tanks. Los Novillos subdivision is requesting a reimbursement of $1,000. Las Estrellas Phase 1, they're requesting reimbursement of $4,500. And Las Estrellas Phase 4, they're requesting reimbursement of $3,000. And Ranchitos Escondidos Phase 1, requesting a reimbursement of $6,000. All the aforementioned developments are requesting this reimbursement for the septic tanks that have been installed, been inspected by the health department. We have the letter on file. We also recommend approval.
Can you go over those novillos, how much they want, you said?
Come again?
Los novillos subdivision?
Yes, sir?
$1,000?
It's $1,000, yes, sir.
Okay, what about Las Estrellas Phase 1?
Las Estrellas Phase 1, it's $4,500, sir.
4,500. And the other one is 3,000 and 6,000?
3,000, yes, sir. And this, we already have the letter from health. Everything's in order for the reimbursement, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
For approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second of 16A, 3A through D. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Next, item 17. HIDCO.
Morning, Commissioners. This is on behalf of the HIDCO Task Force, HIDCO Chapter 59, Item 1251, approval of 2014 appropriation of funds in the amount of $36,000 HIDCO Chapter 59 funds. That's a correction, Commissioner. The backup material reflect the correct amount of $36,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for 17A with the correction of 36,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 18A, budget.
Morning, Commissioner. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 18A1 is approval and acceptance of order dated November 20th, 2014, setting the salary of the court reporters for fiscal year 2015.
Move for approval.
We have motion and second of 18A1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 18A2 is approval and acceptance of order dated November 20th, 2014, setting the salary of the county auditor, assistant county auditors, and the budget for the county auditor's office for fiscal year 2015.
18A2.
Approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On item 18B, 1 and 2, we'll take no action. We'll bring those back next week. We're still negotiating with the firm on some changes. Item 18C is approval to amend the countywide solid waste citizens collection station rules. Basically, the amendment that we're asking for is to allow payment via money order, which we had not included in the rules previously. We want to be able to accept money orders as a form of payment.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 18D is approval of 2014 appropriation of funds for certificates of obligation, Series 2009 B and C, in the amount of $500. This is for fiscal agent fees.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Martha Salazar, I will start with 19B, if permitted, since Mr. Guerra is not present. 19B is for Precinct 1, approval of work authorization 3 in connection with contract number 309 with Millennium Engineering Group in the amount of $8,713.50 through assigned requisition as posted for the construction materials testing of Mile 4 West Road, Mile 15 to Mile 16 improvement project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item C, Precinct 2, A is request for precinct, is requesting an exemption from Hidalgo County Commissioners Court approved order for major purchases deadline of October 3rd, as the budget line items were being reviewed and analyzed for funding for needed parks equipment. I need the exemption.
Move for approval?
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B is authority to purchase 2 tractors as detailed in the supporting documentation through John Deere Tex-Max Cooperative Purchasing Program in the amount of $15,321.26 each. Written confirmation by John Deere that items will be delivered prior to 12/31/14.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is acceptance and approval of certificate of substantial completion from contractor Holtermont Limited, reflecting partial completion date of November 11th, 2014 for the Hidalgo County Precinct 2 Equipment and Maintenance Facility as submitted and certified by project architect ERO.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Ms. Marty, I'm sorry, Judge Commissioners, can we go back to item A?
Sure.
I apologize.
No problem.
Item A is I'm asking the court to consider and approve the Delinquent Tax Collection Services RFPQ project. I'm asking the court to approve the negotiated contract.
Move.
Move for approval.
Second.
And I'm asking that the contract be 3-year term with 1-year renewal.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item D, Precinct 4, authority and approval to enter into an interlocal agreement between Hidalgo County and Texas A&M University to establish an Hidalgo County San Carlos Community Resource Center in Precinct 4.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262-024A4, a professional architectural services
Move
contract.
for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking of those firms graded and evaluated, those being on ROFA Architect Services 94, ERO Architect Services 96, and Mata Garcia Architect Services 98. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Authority for purchasing to negotiate a professional contract with, commencing with the number 1 ranked firm of Mata Garcia.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262-024A7C to provide utility construction and enabled electric power.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
B is approval to issue payment to Magic Valley Co-op, MVEC, in the amount of $4,634.40 through issuance of a purchase order to Magic Valley Cooperative, has facilities in place to provide construction services to extend 3-phase overhead and underground to serve Lynn San Manuel Emergency Services Facility.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E is for Constable Precinct 1, acceptance and approval of a revised pay application 12 as final retainage previously approved by Commissioners Court on July the 8th, 2014, with the new amount of $41,403.57. That is including the 5% retainage on pay application 13 as submitted by Holtermont, awarded vendor, through contract number 028 for the construction of the new Constable Building in Precinct 1.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is ratification and approval declaring that the AIA Article 9, 10.2, 2, 3, and 5, dealing with maintenance of insurance by the general contractor until final payment becomes a moot point, as county had occupied the building, insured it, and no construction took place while final payments were made.
We're going to be able to pay him, Marty, now?
Second.
We're
Why?
done.
Good.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F1, Facilities Management. This is in connection with the county clerk's upcoming closure, acceptance of proposal submitted by RL Abatement through county's participation through TIPS TAPS contract, that's a cooperative purchasing program, for asbestos removal and disposal of Hidalgo County Clerk's office in the total amount of $13,443.87 as per specifications developed by project consultant. Asbestos abatement project is scheduled to take part starting at 5 p.m. on Thursday, December the 4th, and finished by 1 p.m. on Monday, December 8th. Thus, County Clerk will be closed all of Friday, December 5th, and will not reopen until Monday, December 8th at 1.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item G, Sheriff's Office, recommending award of bids, and this is be multiple, and contracts to the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bids. This is for purchase of tires, including installation and other related services for Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office. We had 5 bid packets requested, 2 received. We are requesting that you award to Southern Tire Mart. That's contract 3424 and 324A, tire and battery. Tire battery will be, tires only will be A to C.
Higher only. Yeah.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
This time would entertain a motion to proceed to executive session pursuant to 551-071 and 072.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It is 11:35. We're in executive session.
You got 10 minutes.
All right, we're back in open session. Mr. Guerra?
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Judge, Commissioners, under open session, item 21, real estate acquisition appropriation for same. There's no action, just proceed as directed. 21B, pending and/or potential litigation. Item D, specifically under pending and/or potential litigation. This is the south 5 acres of the north 20 acres of Lot 45-2, which is to the west addition of Sherryland, Hidalgo County. This is recorded in the Volume 1, page 56 of our map records at the Office of the County. D. I'm doing pending potential litigation, specifically D.
Okay.
The Volume 1, page 56 of the map records, which is in our County Clerk's office. Judge, Commissioners, I'd like for the court to take action to authorize Mr. Crane's office to file on behalf of Hidalgo County with respect to this property, a declaratory judgment with this property. There is an issue that needs to be resolved at the courts, and so I'm asking the court to authorize Mr. Crane on our behalf to file a declaratory judgment.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And Atlas Holland Rodriguez, Mr. Crane with the firm of Atlas Holland Rodriguez. Item C, there's no action to be taken, economic development negotiations. We've acted on item D. Item E, Ezequiel Jurado versus Guadalupe Trevino, Sheriff Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Judge Commissioners. I'd like Commissioners Court to, for a compromise and settlement agreement with Mr. Saul Ramirez, who is part of this civil action, in the amount of $18,000.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Saul Ramirez is the attorney
Yes.
for...
Yes, and
One of the plaintiffs.
one of the plaintiffs in this case, and Mr. Ufraso, you'll get all the proper documentation, but for the record, this would be payable to in care of counsel for Mr. Ramirez, which is Mr. Jim Grissom. And I'll go ahead and provide all that documentation to your office, Mr. Ufraso. Item F, Alberto Martinez versus Hidalgo County Judge Commissioners. We will, just for the record, we have a mediation scheduled for the month of December, and we will report accordingly after our mediation. Item G, claim of Hector Miramontes. Judge Commissioners, I'd like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $120.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item H, claim of Alyssa Rodriguez. Judge Commissioners, I'd like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $3,485.41.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
For the record, Mr. Frasso, if accepted, we would then make the check payable to the Square Law Group, LLP.
Word law?
Square, if accepted. And the last one, item I, claim of Maria Gutierrez. Judge Commissioners, I'd like Settlement Authority to make an offer in the amount of $500.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
At this time, there is no action to be taken under item 22
Need a
and
motion
23.
to adjourn?
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Vote.